He's just a good old boy who loves burning rubber and driving fast.
All right, folks, I am here at the race shop, and over the next couple days, I am going to put out videos introducing you to the race team. These will be once a day, I hope, for the next few days. Get a little background on each and every person that works on this RWR Racing Parts Plus Top Fuel Dragster. Hope y'all enjoy this. All right, here with Mr. Christopher Niesen. My first question is, where did the nickname Izzy come from?
That's a long story. Simple story is Bruce came up with...
Bruce meaning Kaylin.
Yeah, she'll always be Bruce in my head.
Yeah, I know.
But I think she came up with Phoenix or Arizona first. One of the two, because that's where I'm from. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
That was one of my questions.
Yep. And then it turned into Arizona, and then it got turned into AZ, and then I think Kaylin said it really fast one day and it sounded like Izzy, and then it just spiraled from there because now there's a bunch of names that I will not say.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a good one. It definitely could be worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I could have a worse one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, that's just what it is now.
Yeah.
You know,
like when I hear my legal name, it's like,
what?
How do I know? How do I know you?
Yeah.
How do you know me, actually?
All right, I'm gonna try to ask the same questions, but you know how I am. It's kind of like we was talking about losing tools earlier. You get just whatever, it goes away. So, you're from Phoenix, born and raised.
Yep.
How did you get here? Like, how did that whole process start?
Gotcha.
I want to ask one question first before we even do that one. Were you a drag racing fan?
Yes. I would say yes.
I'm sorry, y'all, the light just went off, but that's what it is.
I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my dad used to go. I think I went when my first time was 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Up at Wild Horse Pass.
Yep.
And then we went off and on for a couple years, and then when I started being able to drive, I was driving myself to the race every year.
Yeah.
I go with some buddies and stuff like that. But I've always been to the straight line. Some circle track stuff. I like a lot of dirt track stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
With the angle and I gotta get into it, but that stuff's pretty cool. And yeah, I think I've always been into racing and motorsports. Not necessarily drag racing, but just a collection of all of them.
So, I did cover this as well with Austin. There was no secret. It's really not now because it's going to be on here. Zero mechanical from him.
Yeah.
How about you?
I had a little bit. I was always taking apart my mini bike motors and trying to put it back together. It never went back together, right?
Right.
But
always had bolts left over.
Yep. I was super, super efficient with those ones.
Yeah.
Trash can. But yeah, I would like to just use my hands. It doesn't really have to be with tools, just anything.
Yeah.
I like to make things and see if this thing works with that thing. And then once I hit high school, I started doing automotive in high school.
In school?
In school, yep. It was an hour class. I'd go on lunches and after school just to get extra work on my own stuff, get extra grades, whatever. But other than that, there's no degree, there's no certificates, just all up in here.
Yep.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Yep, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Unless it's a weird one.
Yeah. So back to my first question. Not my first question, but the question. How did you end up here? How did a kid from Phoenix that went to a drag race once a year end up doing it for a living?
So my dad worked for Zillow, the home buying company, and he met Chris Menapace's grandparents that lived in Phoenix at the time. Chris Menapace is a very, very good dude. He got me this job, and I pretty much owe all of my trouble beings to him because it's his fault.
Also from Phoenix.
Also from Phoenix, yep.
Chris Menapace worked on our team with Doug Stringer.
Yep. And he got me in contact with Doug.
How'd you know Chris Menapace?
So my dad was in contact with Chris Menapace's grandparents, They got in contact with Chris Menapace. He got in contact with Doug. Doug needed a guy.
Yeah.
I was that guy.
You was that guy.
I was that guy. And I was working at a dealership in Phoenix, and I was like, I'll just go out for a year. Let's try it. And now I'm stuck.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's kind of true.
Yeah.
So, first day you show up in McLeansboro was first place you went, right?
Yep.
Which is where the race shop was with Doug Stringer.
Yep. So actually,
Was it like, holy crap, what have I done?
Yep. It was. It was a culture shock for sure the first couple weeks. It was definitely a culture shock because I'd never been around 3 feet plus snow before, and that's the first week I was there was a blizzard. And me and my dad actually went 2 weeks before I was supposed to move, just to make sure I wasn't moving into a trap or
a serial killer.
Right.
Place,
yeah. So we went out and looked, and I made the decision to come back. So it was really like, it was mind blowing at first that this opportunity even happened because I knew what Top Fuel drag racing was.
Right.
And it was like, I'm not qualified, you know. And then Doug was like, figure it out.
Yep.
I was like, okay, cool. I can play with race cars.
Yeah. So what was the first job? Like, not necessarily the first day, but I'm just saying. So, so you were immediately put with Kaylin?
I was actually there with just Jeffrey.
Yes.
For almost 3 weeks.
That's right.
I want to 2.5 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And we really just organized the, what do we call that shop? The fab shop.
Fab shop.
Yeah, where we kept all the brake clean and
all the clutch discs.
all the oil on the clutch discs, and that's where we grinded discs. So first week I was there when it was snowing, crazy outside, we just stayed inside the shop. And then once we couldn't get into the shop, then we had to shovel the shop and shovel walkways and stuff, which I'd never shovel snow before. I didn't need to, you know.
Yeah.
And
shoveled sand maybe, but not snow.
Yeah. Sand and dirt and rock, but no snow. So I quickly learned that I needed to invest in some warmer clothes. It was really cold. I think when I got off the plane in St. Louis, it was like 9 degrees. And when I left, it was like 65 degrees.
Right.
So I just had my normal winter clothes on, hoodie and pants, and I was cold.
Yeah.
Yep.
So get ready to go to the racetrack. First time ever standing behind a car that you had actually worked on. What was that experience?
Mixed emotions. Honestly, a little bit of it was fear.
Yeah.
Because your first time doing it, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, the process, but you don't know what does what and this does that.
Just because we talked about it don't mean nothing really.
No, until you get hands-on. That's when it starts clicking, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was 50-50 with fear and this is awesome.
Excitement.
Yeah, excitement. And your heart and your adrenaline starts running. It's probably crazy for you, but for me standing behind the car, it was like, what have I done? What have I got myself into? But it was, it's all I needed to get stuck, so.
Yep. All right. So, biggest achievement, highlight, whatever you want to call it, for you, what is it? So far. How many years have you done this now? Is this 3?
This will be 4.
This will be 4.
Yeah, 24
so 3 years.
Before,
Yep.
I'd say probably Denver. I think Denver was the coolest because
winning Denver.
Winning Denver. Sorry, that was probably everything just smooth.
Yeah.
Same with Chicago, and not so much the other one. We don't speak.
Do what now?
We don't speak of that one. We blew a lot of up on that one.
Oh.
In St. Louis, I think it was St. Louis. No, St. Louis was the smooth one. Denver was the one that we heard a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't remember.
I like Denver the most just because my parents got to be there for the win.
Yeah.
And we got the last one on the mountain, which I think is really cool.
That was huge.
Something to tell your kids later on, you know, we were the last ones.
Yep.
Which is really cool. And to have the trophy to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was huge. Denver was big. That was definitely big.
Yep.
So what has been the worst screw up you've made? And I said this with Austin.
Yeah.
When I do it, it's obvious. You know, it's a big red light. It's a whole shot, whatever.
Cross the line. Yep. Never done that.
Yep.
You're a pretty kick-ass driver, but.
Is Well, maybe it's not being clutch assistant. It may not be something that's glaring like, Austin leaving buttons out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So you can't necessarily maybe pinpoint the clutch like,
right.
But is there anything that pops to mind? If not, no big deal.
I think in the cylinder head department where I'm at now, I think I had an extremely good teacher that wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah.
Like he was always looking over things. Blaine was always looking over things and making sure we as a team didn't screw up. So none really big screw ups in the cylinder head department, but in the clutch department, I'd probably go with leaving the cover off the bell housing in 21. That was a bad one. Oh, I didn't leave it off. I only left one bolt in the cover.
I think I got yelled at.
Yeah, I did
by
too.
NHRA.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you got yelled at later by the crew chief.
Yep. Yelled is a pretty soft word to use there, but yeah, I got a talking to.
Yeah. I got one from NHRA, then you got one later. Not from me, but from crew chief.
Yep.
So the...
and Brainerd. That was a pretty big screw up too.
What was it?
Me and Blaine showed up about an hour and a half late on Sunday morning.
Oh, I forgot about that. The zoo might have been involved the night before.
No comment.
No comment. That's a good way to answer that.
Yeah, right. that was a tough one. That one really wasn't anything like physical that we screwed up. Yeah. It was the more of the emotional connections that we had with people, and now they're looking at us like these people can't show up one time.
Yeah, you got left, didn't you?
Yeah, we did get left, and we had to find our own way. We were gonna walk, and they were like, "That'll take too long." And then we were gonna run, and we were like, "We're not running. We'll probably die before we could get there."
Yeah. I forgot about that one. That was one I put out of my brain.
Me too.
Yeah.
I just remembered it, and now I will remember it for the next week until I forget about it again.
Yeah. So last year you moved positions because we talked to Austin. Austin obviously is changing positions this year, but now you're the guy.
Yep.
What are you doing?
I am the cylinder head guy. I don't like to put titles.
No, me neither.
I think me and Andy are going to kick ass in the cylinder head department.
Yep.
Andy's very knowledgeable when it comes to turning wrenches, and when it comes to even like we're teaching him how to build heads right now, and even he's just like.
Oh, yeah.
He's just getting it.
Yeah.
I was a little bit different. I learned a little bit different, but he's getting it. I think we're going to be good.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Last one, unless I think of something else. What are your goals for the season?
Personal or team?
Both.
Team, I'd go with the obvious win races, gold rounds.
How many race wins are you thinking?
I'll go with 3.
Okay.
I think we're obviously capable of 3.
Yeah.
And anything more than 3 will just be a bonus.
Yeah. How about 3 in the last 6?
That'll work too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hold the big one.
Yeah.
That'll work.
All right. Personal,
to fill big shoes in the head department. Blaine's
he's rock solid, ain't he?
One of the smartest men I've ever met. He's just full of great information, and the best part about him is that he can tell it to you.
Yeah.
And not just like have to show you, or like he can just pull it right out of his head. And he's got a very good way of teaching.
Awesome.
Yep.
I just thought of another one that I didn't think to ask Austin. So how do I even ask this? Do I irritate you, and you're always good about playing along? When I pull the old the YouTube device out, how often is it irritating? And you can be honest. You know we don't hide nothing. We don't care.
Honestly, I'd say 95% not annoying, not in the way, because you're very good. You know what's going on.
Yeah,
like you're not filming in our face while we're trying to do something, but
I will pull it out when there's team meetings going on, stuff like that. So
sometimes, like, honestly, like the only time that's a little bit like irritating or frustrating is like when we're having a team meeting and you put the camera and I can't see Jamal's face, like right in the way, and I'm like,
yeah.
that's it. Other than that, like I like it. I think it's cool to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always, you're good about playing along with me and all
Right.
that. But we know these folks love it, you know.
Yep.
And it's funny. And we talked about this right before I told Izzy to come back here. And this will be fun with Blaine.
Yeah.
Blaine is zero camera guy.
Yep.
And y'all have probably figured that out if you've watched a lot. But he is.
He's gonna look like
He's
a cherry.
gotten better though.
He does. Oh yeah. He's gonna look like a cherry tomato.
Yeah.
Right here. Yep. It's a cherry.
All right. On to the next one.